My name is Taylor Adams. I am 33 years old. I live in Salt Lake City, Utah in the United States, where I work as a pediatric critical care flight nurse. And I'm also a type 1 diabetic. I have been now for 2/3 of my life since I was 11 years old. And so have, had to manage type 1 diabetes for the last 22 years of my life, which I think anyone with diabetes can relate, it being a struggle. I think every day it's a struggle. And I think one thing that makes me fairly unique among people with diabetes is that just recently in 2020, I finished climbing what is called the 7 Summits, which is the tallest mountain on all 7 continents, and finished that right before the COVID pandemic to accomplish that goal with an insulin pump. I started that journey to climb the 7 summits right after I graduated college in 2011, and it was never my goal up front to climb all 7 of them. It started out sort of by accident, climbing some of the smaller and less involved mountains, and I did really well with altitude. I really enjoyed the challenge. As I went along, ticking some of the mountains off of my bucket list, I figured maybe this is a cool thing to do. I will do 6 out of the 7 summits. I'm not crazy enough to do Mount Everest, especially with type 1 diabetes, because hardly anyone does that in general, let alone with diabetes. And I got to thinking about it, and I thought, I'm young, I'm not going to get in any better shape. I don't have a wife, I don't have kids. I think going forward, I would always wonder, could I have done it if I had actually tried? So in 2019, I decided to attempt climbing Mount Everest, and was very lucky, and I think a lot of my training paid off and was able to get to the top. And then just a year later, finished the last of my 7 summits. High altitude mountaineering is an incredibly difficult, dangerous sport for anyone. There's a lot of risk, both in terms of weather and avalanches and heights, and then superimpose diabetes onto that can make everything very difficult, especially at high altitude where it is incredibly cold. At the top of Mount Everest, it was approaching -40 degrees, and with diabetes, unfortunately, most of what was keeping me alive was either electronics with my insulin pump, glucometer, all of that, or liquid with my insulin. And unfortunately, both liquids and electronics don't do very well at such cold temperatures. And I think for better or worse, Mount Everest is seen as this pinnacle of achievement and as an incredible challenge with it, which it is. I'd argue, there's a lot of things that are harder than Mount Everest, but in society, it is seen as this pinnacle of achievement. So I think it is a really cool opportunity to have accomplished that with type 1 diabetes. I think if someone with diabetes can climb Mount Everest, then there's really not a lot that someone with diabetes or any other chronic medical condition can't do. So I would really encourage anyone, especially someone with diabetes or another medical condition, to really pursue what makes you happy, what you want to accomplish, and don't let a diagnosis stand in the way of that.